Hello and welcome to this Scientific Principles video with Elec Training. We're currently looking at simple machines, in particular levers, and we saw in the previous video that we've got class 1 levers, class 2 levers, and now we're going to look at class 3 levers. A class 3 lever is defined as when the effort is in the middle. So the resistance or the load will be on one end, and then the fulcrum will be on the opposite end, and we apply the effort in the middle. It does seem strange that this works, but it's easier to understand when we look at an example. So first example we'll look at is a pair of tweezers. And with a pair of tweezers, you know instinctively that you apply the effort in the middle by squeezing together here. There's the fulcrum, it's where the tweezers joined at the end, and then the force that is applied is at this end, enabling you to grab hold of a hair on your eyebrow or whatever and pluck it out, and you're able to apply more force because of the principle of the lever. The other example is the human mandible. Mandible is an unusual word, but it just simply means the lower jawbone. So the lower jawbone is pivoted to the skull by muscles that join and ligaments that join it just at that point there, one end. And in the middle is where the effort is applied, and that's because there are muscles joined to the top of the skull, just under the eye socket, and to the lower jawbone. And by moving our muscles, we can move our jaw up and down, and the force is applied where the teeth meet, so the top and lower rows of teeth join together, and we can bite with much greater force because of the principle of the lever. So the three classes of lever are determined by the positions of the fulcrum, the load, and the effort. Let's just put up a simple diagram now of each type. So we've got one example with the fulcrum in the middle, we've got one example with the load in the middle, and we've got one example with the effort in the middle. And the easy way to remember what class of lever it is just to think about which of these three things is in the middle, the fulcrum, the load, or the effort. And there's a useful memory aid here, which is FLE 1, 2, 3. If you just write the letters FLE and underneath 1, 2, 3, and the F stands for fulcrum. So if the fulcrum is in the middle, then it's a class 1 lever. If the load is in the middle, it's a class 2 lever, and if the effort is in the middle, then it is a class 3 lever. We're going to do a calculation now, and with lever calculations it helps to think in terms of the two sides being in balance, and they're separated by the fulcrum. So the fulcrum is almost like an equal sign. What's on one side will equal what's on the other side. And it's like this, you've got the fulcrum there, and on one side, let's look at the right hand side, we've got a force being applied, that's our effort to push the lever down, and we've got a distance between where we're pushing down and the fulcrum, there will be a certain distance. And on the other side, we've also got a force and a distance. We've got the object. Now the weight of the object is a force. We have learnt that in a previous video that weight is effectively the force of gravity on an object. So we can say that an object that has weight is a force acting on this side. And therefore we've got one force there, but we've also got a distance there. We've got the distance between that force or that weight and the fulcrum. So we have a formula now. We've got a formula for a lever in equilibrium, and it's this, that the force times the distance on one side will equal the force times the distance on the other side. So we write that as F1 times D1 equals F2 times D2. So let's put that in practice now with an example question. A crowbar is used to lift a packing case. The load exerted by the packing case is 1,200 newtons. Determine the effort needed to lift the packing case if the load is 10 centimeters from the pivot and the effort is 1 meter from the pivot. Now, I always find with questions like this, it helps to draw a simple diagram of a lever and then to think about what forces and what distances are involved. So F1 will be the force we're applying on one side. F2 will be the actual weight of the object, the load on the other side. D1 will be the distance from where I'm applying a force to the fulcrum, and D2 is the distance from the fulcrum to the load. And therefore we could then write our formula, F1 times D1 equals F2 times D2. And if I transpose that formula, now remember with transposition, I just want to get F1, that's what I want to find, what force is required. Determine the effort needed, it says, so it's the force that's required, it will be F1. So I want to move D1 over the other side of the equal sign, so I'll simply move it from the top to the other side, it will go at the bottom. So F1 equals F2 times D2 divided by D1. Now then we can put the numbers in. So F2 is 1,200, that's the force exerted by the load, times distance 2, D2, and that's the distance from that load to the fulcrum, which is 10 centimetres. But remember, in any formula we're using SI units, so we're going to convert that into metres. So 10 centimetres is 0.1 metres, and that's divided by D1, and D1, the distance, is given us in the question as 1 metre. So I can write that in there, and then the calculation works out that the force is 120 newtons. Let's look at another example now. So this time a horizontal bar 1.75 meters in length is pivoted at a point 0.75 meters from one end, and a downward force of 150 newtons is applied at right angles to this end of the bar. Calculate the force that must be applied to the other end of the bar to maintain it in a horizontal position. Ignore the weight of the bar. So once again, it's a lot of information in a question. It helps if you just draw out a simple diagram. All you need is one line, and somewhere in the middle area put the pivot point, and then just annotate it with F1 and D1 and F2 and D2. Write your formula out. F1 times D1 equals F2 times D2. Transpose the formula to find F1. So F1 equals F2 times D2 over D1. Put your numbers in. So the F2, that's the downward force, is 150 newtons, and D2 is the distance from that to the pivot. Well, we've got a little working out to do. We're told that the whole bar is 1.75 meters in length, and the pivot point is 0.75 meters from one end. So it is 0.75, but that means that what's left is 1 meter. So the opposite end, so that's D1, is 1 meter. So the total length of the bar is 1.75. We've got 0.75 one end and 1 meter the other end. So 150 times 0.75 over 1 equals 112.5 newtons. And any question you get where you have to calculate the force or the distance in a lever, the exam questions would always give you 3 parts of the puzzle. So they're either going to give you a force and a distance on one side and a distance on the other side. So you're simply calculating to find the missing value of the force on that side, or any combination of 3 out of those 4 different measurements. And so using this formula, transposing the formula, putting your numbers in, you can always work out the actual value that you're being asked. So that's how we calculate the values in levers. And as I say, a lever is a simple machine that enables us to gain a mechanical advantage. It increases the force that we can apply, and it also sometimes changes the direction that we apply that force, depending on whether we're using class 1 lever, class 2, class 3. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.